Hello everyone, my name is Estefania and welcome to San Rosa Creations. This week I wanted to talk to you guys about how I use my projector in my sewing. So one thing about being a neurodivergent person that is into crafts is that I've struggled to find ways to make it more accessible to myself. And in a previous video I talked about my top three ways that I make crafting and sewing more accessible, and one of them was my projector. So today I want to talk to you guys a little bit about this projector. So first and foremost, I do recommend the Facebook group Projectors for Sewing, because you're going to get the best information there. It took me a while and support from my partner for me to get my setup. But yeah, so this is an LG Ultra Short Throw PF1000U. I bought it used on eBay. It was pricier when I got it, just because as you can see, it's very small and portable. And I just knew that I wanted something small that was going to fit in my space. The other option is the Epson Powerlite 560 Ultra Short Throw. That one's a little bit bigger, and you can kind of have a similar setup and or with like a wooden stand. But this is what I wanted to go with. And so the way it works is that I have my projector, I have my remote, and plugged into the side is a Chromecast. So the way it works is that you project your laptop screen onto the projector using the Chromecast. You can also use, what else can you use? The Fire TV stick. I had that somewhere, and so we'll talk a little bit more about that, but I just wanted to talk about my setup. And so like I said, this is the LG Ultra Short Throw PF1000U. I have it attached with a stand that I just got on Amazon. It was not designed for this, so I definitely had to jerry rig it a bit, and I'll add a picture so you can see what I'm talking about. But yeah, so with the Chromecast, that is the setup that you have. So next we're going to talk about what a projector file looks like. And then in the end, I will show you how I actually cut a pattern piece with it. Hey everyone, so I wanted to go over what a projector file looks like. So first you can notice that I have a Projector AI, which is an Illustrator file. I am a big fan of the Adobe suite. I may be in the minority there, just in the sense that I know people like to use Affinity because it's less expensive. But I just use the Adobe suite for everything. I use it for my video editing. I use it to make PDF files, to do Illustrator files, SVGs. So yeah, that's just, what I got going on. So I wanted to show you that first and foremost, a projector file is a PDF file. When you purchase a pattern, whatever you have, it'll come as a PDF pattern. So when you click it and open it, it'll open up to the PDF. And I wanted to talk about a few things that it comes with. And so you'll notice that it has a 2-inch square. This is your test square so that you can measure how, just zoom it in, so you can make sure when you're projecting that it is the correct ratio. Another important feature is the zoom. Your zoom will vary from mine, and this is something that, again, I would recommend you go through in the projector file, or sorry, in the Projectors for Sewing group, because I know for a fact that the zoom ratio for my laptop is 39%, and that is the accurate size to project to my projector. And so essentially, when I open the file, I set it to 39%. One thing to note is that some pattern makers, especially clothes makers, provide layers, and those layers could be for different sizes. So if I turn off layer 1, it'll get rid of most of everything, but it'll leave my smaller size. So let's pretend this is a small, And then layer 1 is just my other options. And these are just pieces I put together, some shapes. So step 1, open the file. Step 2, set your zoom ratio. And then your next step will be to cast to it using whatever casting device. So I've talked about how I use my Chromecast. So I'm going to open Google Chrome, and there should be, sometimes you have to click the 3 dots and then go down to cast. Again, I'm using a Chromecast, so you're going to click cast. I don't know why my Chromecast is still master bedroom. We used to have it in our bedroom, so it's just what it is. You're going to click sources, and you want to make sure to cast the complete screen. And then you're going to click your casting screen. See, it says Estefania's TV. I think that's our living room TV. So just depending on what you have set up, I think this is the Fire Stick in our living room. And so I'm going to click it, and it's going to say casting. I'm going to go back to my projector file, and I'm going to hit Command L. I think it's Control L in Windows. And that what that does is that fills my screen with my projector file. And now this would be casting to my projector. And then I can go ahead and go and cut it. So I'll show you that next. So here is my projector file. Like I said, I know that my zoom ratio is 29%, and that is actually different from, that's my laptop zoom in. I think for if I'm using my iMac to cast, which you can also use that, then it would be, I think, like 56%. So it really just depends on your computer. One thing I'm gonna notice is that it's slightly crooked, so I'm just gonna tilt my projector a bit. I bump it sometimes. One thing I did want to mention, which I forgot to mention earlier, is that I use the Chromecast so that I could do it wirelessly. Another option is to get a micro USB cord. Oh, my remote's actually doing stuff. Is to get a micro USB port and plug it into your laptop, and then plug it in to your projector, which a lot of people do. So as you can see, this is casting wirelessly. I can move it around with my fingers. And one thing to note, and I'll take a higher view picture of this, is that my 2-inch square here is 2 inches. Again, I know my zoom in rate is different. If I zoom in, then it changes the ratio, and then it's no longer correct. My pattern pieces will not be correct. That's why it does take some trial and error to test out your settings. So this right here is a 2-inch square, so I know all these pattern pieces are correct if I wanted to go ahead and cut them. So I would just take my fabric, trying to find like a small piece of fabric. Take my fabric, lay it down. Oh, and let me turn off the lights because it's easier to see. All right, so you can see the lines on my very wrinkled fabric. And so then I would just take my rotary cutter and then just cut it out. Again, this is really nice for big patterns. One pattern that I like to use my projector file with is like the Fold and Zip Backpack by Sophisticated Designs, because they have like a large piece for the interior. So like that's just really helpful. And again, if the projector file has layers, for sizing, that's really nice, especially for clothes, because then you can turn off the layers and then just leave, like, let's pretend that is, you know, my 2XL size. Then, you know, that's nice that I can turn off all the other layers and then just leave the size I need. That's really nice. But yeah, so that's how I use my projector. It makes it easier for me to make it accessible, because again, just with my ADHD and my autism, I don't do well like with patterns that I have to print out and cut. and then tape together, and then do my files. So pattern makers, if you're out there, kind of think about, I know that projectors kind of seem like projector files and SVG files seem kind of like this like luxurious thing, but honestly it's an accessibility feature for those of us that have, struggling disabilities that make it harder for us to do things. So yeah, that's all there is to it. Again, I do recommend going to the Projectors for Sewing Facebook group. They have so much information about different projectors and different setups, and then, the community is just really helpful. But yeah, that's it.